Hello, this is Compound Interest Stock Guy, and today we're going to be talking about the top countries to grow cannabis. So stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It helps my channel grow, and I appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. This is just about information, so I am not telling anybody to invest into any company. So yeah, that's just my disclaimer. So we're going to be talking about two links. One's WikiLeaf, so I'm going to start off with it, and then there's another link. So it says many Americans purchase their wheat directly and sometimes covertly from a single intermediate supplier, but people don't know where the supply chain is from. So Colombia it's a cocaine production, right? It's been known for ages that people get cocaine from Colombia, but it's also played a high role in the growth of high-grade cannabis in Colombia. And it was introduced in the 1920s from Panama, and it's got a temperate climate because it's close to the equator, so it's a good place to grow, I think, all year round. Colombia legalized medical cannabis in December 2015 and showed some early indication of encouraging its cultivation among local farmers. So it says a popular referendum rejected the government peace deal, even though it was legalized in December 2015, and it may remain in illicit control for some time to come. So that would be interesting. For companies in the cannabis space, just I guess they can't really grow there until the government gets in control of that industry. Mexico gave them the word of marijuana, so it shouldn't be a surprise that the country has historically been one of the largest cannabis producers in the world, and their potent sativa varieties are Acapulco Gold, and it's grown in Mexico's humid coastal regions, became popular in the 60s, 70s, and in 2008. And it accounted for 2/3 of all cannabis consumed in the United States. But recently, it's put a crimp on the Mexican market. So that's affected the cartels that have been selling cannabis into pushing harder drugs across the border. India is a point of origin for the variety of cannabis we know today is indica. So indica is from India, and it's a outdated Latinized term referring to the Indian subcontinent. And they used to make ancient hash-like concentrate called charas. Although not widely exported, Indian cannabis is still grown in large quantities for local use in the production of state-sanctioned charas and a THC milkshake-like preparation called Bang. So Bang actually is working with Indiva, their cannabis company for edibles. So Indiva, the company in Canada, but they're also in the States. So that's an interesting thing that it came from India, that company's name. Along with India is Afghanistan. It's a birthplace of modern indica varieties, and it's for the Afghani landrace strains for crossbreeding. The country was the world's largest cannabis supplier in 2010 and growing between 25,000 and 59,000 acres every year. And it has also become a source of revenue for the Taliban. So yeah, that's interesting. The Taliban's being involved with cannabis in Afghanistan. It's always about power. money and power. That's the world for you. So South Africa, introduced to the continent by Arab traders in the Middle Ages, sativa varieties thrived in the country's mountainous coastal regions and were used to crossbreed popular strains like Durban Poison. Cannabis has become an extremely successful export crop for the country. And then Jamaica, obviously. Jamaica, man. Jamaica. So Jamaica was brought to Jamaica. Cannabis was brought to Jamaica in the 19th century by Indian indentured servants traveling in tow with English colonists. Yet, despite its long association with the island, it's been illegal for the last several decades. Jamaica is the largest Caribbean supplier of illicit cannabis to the United States and to other Caribbean islands. Rastafari religion. In the Jamaican government decriminalized cannabis use and legal for adherents of the Rastafari religion. Netherlands during the 1980s and 90s that were a haven for not only cannabis but also advanced cultivation. The country's lax attitude towards cannabis regulation during this period attracted advanced botanists who preserved many heritage strains and founded seed companies like Sensi and Dutch Passion. So government tolerates consumption in designated Amsterdam coffee houses. It has cracked down on personal and commercial cultivation of cannabis, but it's been a cornerstone of refined crossbreeding. Kazakhstan, where Borat's from, it's nestled in Central Asia, has a long history as a major grain supplier for much of the surrounding region. It's also a hotbed of cannabis cultivation, where low THC but high quality is valued by both locals and consumers in neighboring Russia. It's a central location for processing of hashish, which is cultivated by riding horses through cannabis fields and then scraping the resin off their bodies. What the fuck? Kazakhstan's crazy. I hope you guys saw that news release on April Fools for G-Tech. That was pretty funny, I gotta say. Okay. This is the other article. It's by herb.co. So, the world's top 10 countries. Says Mexico, because the origin of the word marijuana comes from Mexico, so it must have some good ganja. And the strains that came from there are Mexican sativa, chronic, and kush. But Americans think you can only score dirt weed in Mexico. There's quite a bit of variety, which is some of it's excellent. Jamaica obviously has top-notch herb. After all, this is where Bob Marley was born and raised. And sparkling waters and ideal temperatures is perfect for growing cannabis. Indeed, the island's climate allows for 3 growing cycles to produce some of the finest weed in the world. Netherlands. Each year, thousands of people travel to Amsterdam just for the weed. It's home to the Cannabis Cup, which occurs yearly. And you won't have trouble finding ganja. United States, even though it's illegal, they allow for recreational and medical in a lot of states. Afghanistan, in the same article, is a place for the landrace lines for pure indica or sativa landrace. Australia, it's used in Australia. It's the most used is from native tribes that reside there that use it, and Australia is a great spot. It's because of the open spaces, create a distance between just about everything. And Kazakhstan, and the country has over 400,000 hectares of wild cannabis growing. Wow, that's wild. These weed fields are possibly the largest in the entire world. Wow. Canada. Canada's pot was top notch. In fact, it's um, so other countries have turned to Canada for assistance, such as Uruguay, who contacted Canadian authorities, for example, and they helped them to choose which strains they wanted to grow. In Nigeria, it's not legal in Nigeria, but they have some of the best ganja around the globe. Weed is everywhere, but it also helps provide many of the country's needs. Despite the laws frown upon the herb, it's still without a doubt a common substance for personal use. And then Colombia with the cocaine, but it has some extraordinary cannabis strains, not to mention the climate here is perfect for cultivating the herb. And it brings a significant amount of profit to the country, so much, in fact, that Colombians encourage companies to travel here to grow. So yeah, there we go. I talked about some of the best countries to grow cannabis in, and a little bit about the history behind that. So I hope you like this video. I hope you give me a thumbs up. Hit the bell notification down below so you're notified when I upload videos, and subscribe for future content, entertainment, information purposes. And until next time, peace.